It's all yours, Rick. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So it's 4:30. We've got a quorum. First item on the agenda would be to approve the minutes of a previous meeting. Motion,
Make a motion to approve them.
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Carried. So Greg Johnson is our guest speaker, and he's this is important information. We're trying to get everything finalized so that we can have a warrant article authorizing us to raise the money to spend on these new ramps. So Greg, I'll turn the meeting over to you.
You guys can hear my audio, right? Everything's hooked
Yep.
up?
Yep, fine.
So I think I sent along a draft set of bid specs, and a couple of things about that. I'll try to share my screen. Maybe we can just kind of go through. Kind of have you guys can see that.
Yep.
I'll just keeping track of the timeframes that are on there. Sorry about that. Ignore. Sorry about that. My phone was Bluetooth into my headset. So we're looking at trying to, these dates were made almost a year ago. So we get the ad in the paper around the 27th. That puts it in the Bangor Daily around the 30th. It's kind of where we're at now. It gives them about 7 weeks to respond. People will get things in before Christmas. Of course, we also have Thanksgiving in the middle of it. I pulled up the original schedule to see what we would do. That we would have the bid return on a Friday, and it looked like your next Harbor Committee meeting was the 11th. And so we have this sort of quandary where we have this bid review, which we all agree is going to be public, and people are not going to want to wait until town meeting in May to know they received the project. So I think that we'll, at least what we recommend is if we accept the bid or accept to negotiate with the lowest bidder or some sort, after the Harbor Committee meeting, we'd issue what I consider as a letter of conditional approval, which basically says if funds are passed in May at town meeting for the project, then you are awarded it. I think we need something that binds us after we review it. And that's just one way I've thought on addressing it. It's just basically it's a notice of award with a condition on the bottom. So I'll just pause and see how you guys.
I have a question. I'm going to have a question for John. John, we're actually using our own money for this project, are we not?
It could be a good portion of it, depending on where we come back in for an amount, Rick, whether we would have to think about something else. But just looking at that, Greg, can you go back to that screen where you just was, the time frame?
Yeah, let's see.
Right there, that's fine. So if we're opening the bids on the 17th of December,
Yep.
I think that's an awful long time for us to just sit on them and wait for January 11th. I don't see, unless the group has a problem with it, us meeting that following Monday or Tuesday for a special meeting, and maybe just not having our December meeting until like the 21st of December. I don't know how you guys all feel about that, but that would cut.
I think that's a great idea. That will confirm and solidify our the Harbor Committee's feelings about this thing. So let's do that. Let's have a meeting. What's the date, John, that you were suggesting?
Well, I gotta look at a calendar. Give me a second.
Question, Rick.
Go ahead.
The stat is 22.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's the number of days? How long is it going to be doing that?
I've started allotting, I'm preparing an estimate that I haven't gotten some pricing in, so I haven't completed yet. But I considered front to end, I gave 16 weeks, I gave 4 months. And the reason why the duration is so long is that we'll start in the fall, but we're still gonna need asphalt for where the sidewalks are and some other aspects of it, but I gave 16 weeks to it.
Okay, okay.
4
I just,
months.
I didn't know, I had it in the back of my mind, this, just as soon as the bids can come in and we got the approval, that we'd start this right away. So it'd be over by, say, June.
yeah. What do you think, Greg? That possible?
Well,
We can't
Again-
spend the money until it's approved at town meeting. It's the money we're looking to pay for this is in a undesignated fund and it cannot be accessed without town approval meeting.
I understand that, John, but June is a slow month around here, almost slower than October. As far as the boating activity down there,
They ain't gone home yet.
not this year, no.
but I still think it's a fall 22 start. If we make, you can't get awarded at town meeting in May and be done and have it ready for the summer. Won't be possible. Stone fabrication, setting, May to July, it won't happen.
Yeah, but you already implied that
I said 16 weeks, right?
the winning bidder wasn't gonna have to wait until May to know whether he got the job or not.
But he'll have to wait till May for the town to approve the money before he'll pull the trigger and start cutting a piece of stone.
I appreciate that.
Is there any way we can get around that? I mean,
Not
They
without
could
a
have a
special
special
town
town
meeting.
it still
They
has
could
to
have
go before the people.
Hmm?
Still has to go before the town.
Yeah,
Okay, if I was bidding on something and I had to wait that time, things change.
Definitely. That's why I was seeking the conditional approval, and I think there'll be I started looking at provision of a sliding scale. Normally it's, pavement projects have a sliding scale for the national average of asphalt. It's kind of hard to track that for stone, which I think is one of the drivers. But diesel fuel, so I was thinking the same thing, Juice Thomas, how to have an ability for them to adjust based on something, and I just got to figure out how to get that in there. It's pretty widely used for like Department of Environmental, DEP, DOT projects we do. But a lot of that again is fuel and asphalt related, and this is more rock and dirt related. So
As long as it's less and not more.
Greg, are you don't anticipate a contractor taking this on? You're
no, I
going.
do. No, it's pretty common. I think I think they would take it on. Yeah.
No, but you must have somebody in mind. You say you're gonna advertise in the Bangor paper, but you're not
I'm
gonna
afraid
send out
that
individual private notices?
Yeah, I definitely think we're gonna get hand one. Proc should get one. I think Sergeant maybe. I think that some other groups as Wyman Simpson might do it. We might get some local guys like.
They're all gonna sub it out though to the cutting of the stone.
Well, you guys pick the stone, that's all gonna come to the same place. So I've asked, that's what I've been trying to pluck free from them is what per cubic foot the stone's gonna cost, so I can plug that into our sort of, we know the amount of stone we need. They're all getting it from the same place, so should all get it the same price. And so, you know, I don't know if it's something at Frenchman Bay Boating Company, Bob Collier, he's usually pretty busy. If it was Eric Eaton would be interested in it for sure.
I
Younger guy,
don't see why a Gotts or a Goodwins couldn't do all of it from landside.
I agree. I totally agree. I totally agree. Yep. Yep. I mean, I think we should put it in all the local guys' hands for sure. And as long as, you know, I just feel that what we know now in the market is that we have to get as many responses as we are if we're going to get any sort of good comparisons.
If you look at one of those pages that you sent out to us,
Yes.
then there's a diagram of the support or base, and it's called a quadrilateral prism, truncated. And all those pieces that go in there are tapered on one side, which means another stone saw cut. Why do they have to be nice and neat when all they are is a support?
I guess, Bill, that was just based on the one you guys voted and approved months ago, where we said, yeah, this one's the one we're going for. Let's do this. We had several different examples of them.
We approved a finish and a size and a grade of stone, but as far as the trimming of and all these cuts on the stone, it's going to take freshwater stone somewhere a long time to do it, and they're about the only ones in the area that got a saw that big.
I think we're calling for, Bill, is sawn on the top and bottom and butt ends, and then the faces, the butt ends which hit the other ones are sawn so we can get a tight joint, and then the faces themselves for the taper can be split. Not all sides are sawn. I know that doesn't change your opinion. There are a lot of angles in there, and that is a driver. There's no doubt, but that's, you know, basically my answer was we're going by the schematics, and then we're being sawn basically where we have to touch one another for pinning and keeping the joints tight.
Well, a cross cut is a whole lot cheaper than ripping that whole side down. Anyway, this is just a point.
Yep, it is not, that is a fact, that those extra cuts, and let's say it comes in over budget. Normally, what do? We usually negotiate with the lowest bidder, whether there's a change in scope or something to the effect, like you suggest. And I think in the bid, we leave a spot at the bottom, which we put in the bid tab too, is a contractor suggested cost saving alternative. If you guys think you can save us a bunch of money, just tell us how you want to do it. We're open to it. We don't let them include it in their total tab number, but we give them a place to say, hey, we can save a bunch of money by doing this. And I'm always, you know, they're our partners in being successful. So,
Greg, have you given us a cost estimate so that we're not going to be shocked when we get return bids? What are we going to be
working
looking
on it. I'm working on it right now. You know, you could be 300,000 to 400,000 or more, I think, in all the work that has to happen. But it's going to depend on stone, and material prices are they're tough. And I've been pounding the pavement for the price the last 3 weeks and vacation and that. So, but I think you'll be in that neighborhood.
Okay.
3 or 4.
I get 3,000 to 4,000. Is that what I heard?
300, 400,000 could be in that neighborhood.
Per bulkhead?
Both
Oh,
bulkheads.
for both.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed.
I should have a pretty good idea. John and I are gonna get together on all the pieces, the components this week and say, okay, I know we're doing the ramps. Are they doing the ramps or are you guys doing the ramps? You know, I'm gonna call for, I figured the guard at the top is stainless steel. We could always drop down the galvanized, but stainless steel is gonna be better. Things like capstones along Bill's comment there, you know, when you go to a wharf, especially one that reflects as nice as your guys' harbor, is the joints at the top of the stones is what allows all the debris and ice to get in and start forcing them apart. We often call for a capstone, like a 4-inch capstone that just laps over the bigger joints to kind of cap it. We have that in there. So that's why we've kind of sending these out to kind of go through them. But it takes us ways to go at it, and if we're careful in knowing what goes to bid, then we have a ways to scale down if we you know think we've gotten too much. We provide the opportunity for the contract to do that, but also a lot of times we throw all the bids out, or we accept the lowest bid and talk to them and say, what could we do to make this work?
Who's gonna be
I've been
responsible?
trying to think more in terms of the best builder than the lowest price, but anyway.
I agree. with you.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know that we need to lose any bells and whistles, if you will, yet, but I definitely think about those things. The worst, like I said, I gotta be creative. The worst set of plans are the ones that stay on the shelf. I hate, you know, that's never gonna happen.
Who's gonna be responsible for the moving of the ramp or the temporary ramp access to those floats? Is that in the bid package or?
Talked to John. John thought that we would have an allotment for to help reset it, but he then thought that John could be able to do that in advance, that they would not have to do that. Isn't that right, John? You want to speak to that?
Yeah, was hoping that they was only gonna be doing one or the other at a time. And I would be able to make access to whichever, to the north dock, you know, via the commercial dock or, you know, vice versa. I mean, there is a potential for the public dock to have zero access during its time frame. In my opinion, would not be an issue. We could accommodate commercial dinghies in another location.
Was that Chris who asked that question? Chris?
Yes,
We did have in here that one in the project description, the scope, one of the wharfs has to remain operational. One of the abutments at each time. They could do one and then the other.
yeah, I just was thinking the south dock would be easier to move that ramp over to the main or access that way. Because if without, and then you wouldn't have to block any of the hoists, you know, access to the main pier. If you come off the commercial dock, then you block them the access to the pier, and you could move all the smaller skiffs over, vice versa. Just be a way that the main bulkhead, the main pier, you know what I mean, isn't blocked in either way, and you still need to get back to the backside on the other one too, on the north. Rather than just have someone come in and be like, oh, we can't do it that way, we're gonna lose access, you know what I mean? And a lot of the islands depend on it too, and they're gonna need some notice to, you know, and other people usage of it, and you'll need some public notice, so they notify things will change there, if some access is gonna be blocked, when it's gonna be blocked, and how much of the, you know, that front area parking, so forth, so on, they're gonna need on both sides of it.
Yeah, I think we can figure out the logistics. I'm anxious to get this started. We can't rush it, but be nice if we could start it before October. I know, probably can't.
Rick and John, I'm a little thick, but in this town, if there's an emergency, why are we doing this? Because everything's deteriorating, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, what happens if one of those things fall? Are we gonna have to wait for town meeting to get it fixed?
No,
Okay, that's all I want to ask. I can't believe that we have, at least they could do part of it this year. Or not this year, but within the, the early months of 22. I don't know, I just thinking out loud, that's all. I can't
could-
believe.
Well,
John, I think it's worth having a conversation with the Board of Selectmen to see if they would not call a special town meeting to get this done prior to October.
That a motion? You can't make it, but
I could make a motion, but I was opening it up for conversation. I think waiting till, I can see October being busier than June. And if we could start this project in May or June, I think we'd be further ahead.
maybe then, maybe we can start one.
Yeah, at least start
Yeah,
one.
Start one, maybe I guess we'd have to get around, John, the pricing thing, and if that is beginning of January, and then they could start, well, demo could happen.
Yeah, I can see October, we're not gonna have a fall like this year every year. You start getting frost and snow and something like that going on in November and December. Things happen. So anyway, that's my opinion.
Well, if you guys, that schedule, which this was a schedule that was established last year, look at the front of the bid page. And let's decide how that's why we're talking about it. So bids are back, let's see, bid return and opening is the December, still gives them 6 or 7 weeks, because I know we're gonna lose days on holidays. We'd have somehow, and maybe, maybe the award, John, is there any, let's say is there any amount of money that does not need, let's say one of the abutments comes in and doesn't need town approval, or is it all in an account that needs town approval?
Yeah, there's not enough of money in any account that doesn't need town approval. The majority of our, money that we're gonna pay for anything like this is in our undesignated fund, which does require town meeting approval.
I understand the town meeting approval, and I don't have any issue with that. I'm just thinking that we could request a special town meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we can ask. I know
All they
other
can do is say no.
department heads that have asked, there's a lot to a special town meeting, and if they had one already lined up for some time, we could definitely jump on its back. But it doesn't hurt to ask.
I'm gonna make a motion that we seek approval at a special town meeting in order to start this construction of at least one access ramp prior to May.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand.
all right,
I didn't see Greg raise his hand.
I get to vote. I think that's a great idea.
Ain't a-
You never
Get 'em.
end, you never end unless you start. So I'm all for getting going. That's the bottom line.
Right.
So
So what
I've
I'll do is,
also, yeah, I've looked through the calendar, and December 20th, a Monday at 4:30 is there's an open slot for us to have our meeting in December to go through the bids.
I think we should do that.
And that cuts almost 4 weeks off our time frame.
Is that, we need a motion? Right?
I don't think we need a motion, just if you all agree, I will adjust our meeting date for the month of December.
Okay. Anyone disagree? That means we all agree then. Okay?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna lock it in while I'm right here, just so nobody else takes it, so.
Thank you.
So
See if you can get the Zoom hooked up too, John.
We've, I think the town has upgraded their Zoom to allow more than one meeting. We got a lot of sorries and apologies from everybody, including Darrellin, about what happened last week.
All right, I'm anxious
Well-
to get this thing going. So you have anything
Well,
else, Greg?
Well, what I have is that I need to get the ad in the paper. Let's see, by the 27th, be the weekend paper of the 30th. And we'll also load it up onto the town website. I'll work with Kyle to do that. That should get the word out. And I'll also hand it to, I'll call them the usual suspects. So we'll get it out. What's imperative about that for the 27th is I'm gonna have to put some anticipated dates of award on here. And I'm gonna get with John, and maybe we'll have to look at the calendar to see what likely could meet the requirements for a special town meeting and just put them on here. I think we'll get a better response. That was my biggest fear. That's why I started here. We'll get a better response if they can start come
Yeah.
spring and then take a break. So I just have to figure out how to work that into here that gives it some legitimacy for a schedule that a contractor can somewhat depend upon. And then we'll just have to strive to plug that special meeting in there. But I understand what you guys want to do, and I'll make the bid documents reflect that.
Yeah, John, I'll meet with you and Derlin, or however you want to do it, but I think we should really push this. And
Yeah, we can,
I
I
think
can
they'll
reach out,
understand.
I can reach out to Darrellin and, the three of us could Zoom tomorrow if it works for you and Darrellin.
Not, it doesn't work for me, but I'm messed up the rest of this week.
Okay,
But
but I can definitely, speak with Darrellin tomorrow and get it in
Yeah.
his head and tell him
Yeah.
that you and me would like to meet with him sometime soon.
oh, yeah, fine, that's good.
Yep.
Send
Why
an
are we, why are we just saying get one done? If we can award this in January, why can't they start earlier and get them both done this spring?
We could if we can get a special town meeting, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be part of the,
I mean,
but at least get one done anyway.
I think you'd close if you guys are on it. My peers are the same way, is that we're gonna get a better response if they know they can start right off and especially with.
Well, the key is a
customer
special
service.
town meeting then.
Yep, exactly.
And I think we should jump on that right away, John.
Yeah, no, I'll talk to Darwin tomorrow and
Yep.
set up a meeting time that you and me can meet with him.
Okay, thanks.
Do any of you feel the need to keep both meetings in December? Or should we just go with just the one? What's your
One.
thought, Greg?
I'd say why don't we keep them both going in case something comes up, and if you decide to cancel, it could be just as easily done. It's up to you guys. I'll default to you. I know I'll be answering questions during the bid process, and so there may be some updates, but wherever you guys need.
Because our first meeting in December is before the bid openings, so.
I just schedule it, like I said, and then cancel it if need be. But rather, if
Alright.
there's something changes at the last minute or comes up.
I'll leave it for now then.
Yeah,
and
leave
so we
it
have
for
a
now.
Zoom spot.
Leave it for now, and if we have to cancel, that's fine. I think everyone's in agreement. We're pretty easy to work with today.
Is
No,
that,
every day. Every day.
is that the third then, John? Would that be the first meeting in December? What's that date?
The 14th, I think. Let me get back to it.
Second
Yeah.
Tuesday.
14th.
Yep.
So
So
you potentially have one the 14th and then the 20th.
that's correct.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't know, the other things that are in there, of course, there is a performance bond, which retainage on payments. We definitely retain money as it goes. There's a bid bond that just guarantees they'd hold the pricing through the period of the bid. It's pretty much a standard MDOT format. The reference the DOT on some sections about how it has to happen when they negotiate bids, ask for, experience statements. Pretty, by incorporating their specs in reference, I think it is very helpful. There are sometimes it gets tricky in evaluating bids on why and how you exclude somebody. But I think we're close. John and I will get together this week to make sure we're including what we should be. Help, like Chris mentioned, help moving ramps if that's going to happen inside or out. I think all the electrical's out, but just fine tuning those details so they're in or outside the bid. John, I'll do that this week, but I'll plan on having it advertised the 27th. The ad will go in and it'll be in the weekend paper the 30th.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, Greg.
All right, guys. And if you guys are going through these, if you, I've been like, when we sent this out last week, I didn't have all the stone dimensions. I have all the stone dimensions. I have the concrete detailed out. I'll give you the sets before they send out the 27th. If you guys have any comments, just fire me emails and we'll act live in real time to respond and make sure it's there. So even though you guys had these last week, if you haven't had a chance to look at it, something jumps out of you, email me or call me. And that way we'll all stay on track.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey guys. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Okay. John, we have anything else you'd like to bring up?
No, from your last meeting, the traps are gone. One of the floats that you guys had mentioned is gone. I have reached out to the others. One is in the process of removing and I haven't heard back from the other one.
Okay.
One of the replacement ones there where that sailboat was is not much better than what was there from what I can see.
No, and
That's
I've
not a
already-
legal float spot.
yeah, I've already spoke with the person who's going to be switching that over, just waiting for a response from the owner.
Yeah. All right. We have anything else, guys and ladies?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn. Is that seconded?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Behave yourselves. Tom.
So do.
All right, guys.